Hi everyone, hope all of you are doing well. So today's video is kind of a follow-up video of my previous video where I showed how to fix the Tailwind latest version 4 update errors. So today I am going to demonstrate that from scratch. As per some request, I am doing this video to show you the full setup, how you can do a Node.js project setup with Tailwind CSS latest version. So let's start from scratch. So we have an empty folder, Tailwind latest. You can see here we will first start a Node.js project by npm init, and we will pass this -y flag to do the basic configurations, not doing manually yes. So I'm doing yes by default. Okay, after doing this, you will see a package.json will appear in the root of the directory. So here we don't have any dependencies right now, so I will do this command npm install and install the dependencies. So in order to install these dependencies, you can see there are Tailwind CSS, postcss, auto prefixer, postcss, CLI, and Tailwind CSS. So these are the initial configurations I kept for the project. You can change it a little bit according to your need, but initially I think this will be enough. So I'm copying this and pasting it here. It should be like this: npm install these dependencies. Okay, so we hit enter and you can see all of the dependencies are being installed here. Once everything is downloaded successfully, you will see the updates in the package.json file here. Okay, so it's actually completed. Let's see, in the package.json we have these dependencies. Okay, now the next part that you have to do is inside of our package.json file we have to add the build script. Since we are using Tailwind and postcss, the postcss should have some configuration to build the input file CSS and produce an output, right? So what is the input and output file here? You can see if we create an index.html here, you will see right now index.html. Here we are going to use the Tailwind CSS, right? So I am using an HTML boilerplate here. So here we can add something like hello world kind of text and test that if Tailwind CSS is working. So we have to include the link of the style sheet over here, right? So we will add the style sheet and the reference would be, let's create a folder here, CSS. Inside of that we are keeping styles.css and we are going to use this as input file. So since this is the input file and the output file should be the compiled version of this input class, so here we need to actually include a import statement where we are using this Tailwind CSS, right? So the style CSS, we are putting this at import Tailwind CSS. So what it is going to do is take the Tailwind CSS and import it here, and once it is it finishes the build process, it's going to output this to another directory. So where we are going to put the output is important. Let's make a folder. So our output will be like this, output folder. Okay, or you can also say it as a dist folder, output folder. Okay, so inside of the output folder like this, if we link this output folder here, output slash styles. Okay, you can also say that output.css to make the process easy, right? So we don't have right now inside of the output folder any output CSS like this. In order to make this happen, we have to make this build script, right, that the postcss uses. So let us copy this dev command and put it inside of package.json. Inside package.json you can see there are section called scripts. You can run scripts here. So I will add this as a dev script. I'm naming it dev. You can also put it build CSS or anything, whatever is comfortable for you. So it is telling that post CSS, and it's going to look into the input folder what we have created, the css styles.css, and inside of the input folder, after getting this portion, it will use that and build it as an output, like output CSS. So we have to include in the package.json this output slash output dot css, right? So this is what we have here. And the next step is we already created this dist folder because we named it as output. You can also name it whatever you like. So I can say this is our output folder. Okay, these are the steps we are following. And one last step is this postcss config.mjs. We have to create another config file. It will be like this: postcss dot config.mjs. okay, so inside of this we should have some configuration like this. We're copying this and pasting it here. As you can see, it has export default and it has plugins. The plugins we are going to use are postcss of Tailwind CSS and auto prefixer. These are going to be used, that we already installed in our dependency at the very beginning of our video, right? So we're saving everything. Hopefully everything is okay. So now in order to test this, if everything is working or not, we have to build it, right? So before building, let's add some CSS from Tailwind CSS here in order to understand if actually the style is working or not. So I have one like previously written classes, so I'm copying that to show you. Okay, let's go here and paste it here. Great, so you have this. Let us test if everything is working fine or not. So we will do, since you can see we have included this dev script here, we will say npm run dev. Once we do that, you will see the output is being compiled to our output folder. So it's working. Yes, you can see in the output CSS there is output, and since we have used that inside of our index HTML, so let's see the underline and bold is working or not. We will use the live extension of the VS Code to test this one. So let's see. Yeah, so you can see this is going to work perfectly like this. So that's it. Hopefully you will find it easier to do that from scratch. Thank you so much.